Hi everyone. So I uploaded this Excel sheet. So please download this Excel sheet, which shows the mean hourly wage in the US. And this is the mean hourly wage per different occupational groups. So as you can see, they're all listed down here. And then we also have mean hourly wage for specifically the LA area, which I believe includes LA City, um, Long Beach, I forget where else, but LA County sort of areas. So I already calculated for you the average of the mean hourly wage for the US, and then also for the LA area, as well as the standard deviation for the US and the standard deviation for LA. So because we learned about z-scores, I want to sort of demonstrate how to calculate z-scores within Excel. So I'm just going to label this z-score for US, and this is z-score for LA. So if you remember, having a low z-score indicates that you're lower in, or so more negative. That would mean you have, compared to the rest um, of the sample, you have a um, lower number. And if you have a higher z-score, then you have a higher number compared to the rest of the sample. And this and these differences in z-score is based on standard deviation units. So I kept talking about that, right? So in this spreadsheet, we have everything we need to calculate um, the z-score for the US. So in Excel, in order to make a calculation, you would just do equal sign, and then if you remember what is the formula for z-score. So that formula is raw score minus mean all over standard deviation, right? So I am going to put a parentheses because I want to do this mean score minus the mean hourly wage, all divided by standard deviation. So a little trick in Excel, you can put in dollar signs. So, okay, so after I had put in this formula and clicked the correct cells, I press enter or return, and that will give me the number I'm looking for. And then if I go into this bar up here, and I put a dollar sign here. So what I'm highlighting is when you put a dollar sign, that means you want to keep that number the same for all the formulas. So I'll show you what I'm going to do. And then I also want to keep my standard deviation consistent. So then, so I put dollar signs in front of the letter and the number for the cell that I'm interested in, as well as the letter and the number for the standard deviation that I'm interested in. And then I don't click elsewhere because that messes up the cell. You always press enter or return to get out of that cell. After you click into it like this, I clicked into these spots. I want to press enter to get out. And then for this to be applied to every single one of these cells, so we're looking at the z-score for the US. Let me bold this. Then I go over the cell, and then it becomes a plus. So the bottom right, it becomes a plus. Then I drag this. I hold down my mouse button and drag it to be applied to every single cell over here. And so I can check this by clicking on, so I click on the cell and then I click in the entry area, and I can see it's applying, so it's looking at B23, which is this number, comparing the mean, subtracting out the mean hourly wage all over the standard deviation, which is the z-score. So I'm going to save this. And then I want to do the same thing for my LA scores, right? So I'm going to go into the cell I want to go to, press equal sign. And then this is the mean hourly wage in LA. So I do, oh, I forgot to put in my parentheses. So I click this cell, right? Because I'm trying to find the z-score for this particular cell, minus, so now I have my mean hourly wage for LA. Then I do an end parentheses because I want to do the subtraction first, all over the standard deviation in LA. And so to apply this, because so to calculate the z, so then I just press enter. So to calculate the z-score for every single score that corresponds over here, I want to be able to drag it again like I did for the US. But in order to do that, I have to make it always call this cell. So I'm just going to add a $sign in front of the H and a $sign in front of the 2, as well as the standard deviation to keep it consistent. Because all that's changing in this formula is which cell you're calling over here. So then I just press enter to get out of that. And then again, to drag it to all the cells, you hold down, you press down when the mouse turns into a plus and drag it all the way down. And then I save this. So I go File, Save. So now that we've calculated the z-score for the US and for LA, we can figure out sort of where different occupational groups over here fall for z-score. So I'm interested, so like I'm just gonna look at management, and I can see at both the US and LA, it has a very high z-score. Whereas if I go down, this is closer, so arts, design, entertainment, sports, and media, I'm not sure what that is, but that z-score is closer to 0. So remember, if a z-score is closer to 0, that means it's more on the average. And then if we go to something very negative, so this is, I believe this is like the biggest negative number. So this is food preparation and serving related. And so they have the most negative. So that means they're in the lowest end for the distribution. And so for our lab, take a look at the APA format, but I want you to choose one of these occupational groups and write about that in an APA format based on what you calculated here.